Join me this October where I'll be celebrating Halloween. 31 zine reviews in 31 days. Joining me will be my friend Beanie. Hi, welcome to another edition of Halloween. We are getting down to the wire here, and there's 9 more days to go before we do our live stream draw on October the 31st at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to enter at daikugames.com if you haven't already. And with me, as always, is Beanie. Beanie, how are you doing today? Right on, Beanie. Okay, today we are going to look at Nightcrawlers, a splatterpunk role-playing game. As usual, sometimes starting at the back actually gives you the most information. So let's go through it. Sharpen your claws and get ready to reclaim the night in Nightcrawlers, the splatterpunk urban horror role-playing game where you are the monsters. You have enemies at every turn, monster hunters, government agencies, street gangs, rival factions, and things from beyond this world. They all want to run roughshod over everyone and everything. But as long as you're around, you're going to make damn sure it's not going to be easy for them. By Exalted Funeral and designed by Tanner Ye. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Tanner. And editors Tanner, Sharon Thomas, and Kay Joyce. And artists Sally Cantrino and Tanner Ye. And I would have to say, if you look at the cover here, pretty cool cover. And Sally Cantirino, she does some incredible work, and she's also done the Vintage RPG podcast logo, or at least thumbnail, as well as some illustrations for World Champ Game Company. And so just check it out. So once again, Nightcrawlers, it's coming in at 48 pages-ish, 48, 44 pages. And it's got a good feel to it. So I love the black and white illustrations. It actually makes me feel a little bit like the old school and the vintage texture kind of on it. So here is the city. We've got great. It's got the map key. And if we look here at where's number 1? There it is down here. The Wan Memorial Park. St. Lazarus Cemetery is number 2 there. So maybe a little bit difficult as far as trying to jump between all the different numbers and 5 being up here and all that. But anyways, looks like a fun city to be in. You've got your river. You've got things like Hooper Shipping, Stoker Museum, I'm assuming Bram Stoker, Roth Incorporated, Kusama Technologies, Peel's Fashions, Flanagan Industries, City Hall, Little Romania. That's a nice little touch. Wes's Fine Liquor, Romero Stadium. So a lot of these are obviously named after famous authors. Stein Street Mall, King College, Barker Asylum, Argento Towers, Horrorland Amusement Park, and Kaufman Sewage Treatment. Cool. Nice touches. Contents, we have introduction, character, equipment, play, gameplay, combat, hazards, powers, enemies, character player advice, and the character sheet. And a lot of thank yous there. We probably don't have time to get into all of them. So what is this? The standard role-playing game start. Nightcrawlers is a traditional role-playing game with paper, pencils, and dice where the player characters are PCs or punk monsters, literally. Nightcrawlers is based upon The Black Hack by David Black and is inspired by the 90s punk, metal music, and horror role-playing game like Nightlife, Chill, Nightbane, and World of Darkness. This game isn't for children and contains bad words. Not sorry. The setting. Tonight's the night, and the world around us is fucked. Even more than normal, if you can believe it. Our world, this flesh world, is inhabited by monsters. No joke. You play a crew of these monsters, kindred, you like to be called. Your society, the underground, is a secret to most mortals. It's filled with centuries-long gang wars, blood binges, and tonight, only secret shows. Cool. So it says it's best to be run at 4 to 7 players. There is dice are noted in the following form: XDY plus Z is the number of dice plus the roll, or bonus, I'm assuming. And you have the different standard D4 through D20. So there's a disclaimer about it being counterculture, rebellion, and marginalization. The analogy of being a monster hated by everyday society is a bit ham-fisted, but that's the point. So here's some the inspirations, some RPGs, all their strengths: CJ Crella's Witchcraft, Cyberpunk, Dancing with Bullets Under a Neon Sun, Dark Streets and Darker Streets, Darker Secrets, Esoteric Enterprises, The Everlasting, Nightbane, Nightlife, Signal and Shadow, World of Darkness, movies: An American Werewolf in London, The Crow, Evil Dead, Hellraiser, Lost Boys, Nightbreed, Repo Man, Return of the Living Dead, SLC Punk, one of my favorites, Suburbia, Trainspotting, Toxic Avenger, The Warriors. Books and comics: Call of Cthulhu, Hellboy, Midnight. So you kind of get the gist of it. It's a fun little game. And once again, as I flip through it, I actually really, I know you can print in color, but sometimes the zines are actually, I think, a little bit more stylistic when they're just in black and white. So rolling stats. Here's the attributes: muscle, nerve, flesh, brains, guts, blood. If you roll 15 plus, you must roll the next stat with a 2d6 plus 2, and then continue on with a 3d6 as a balancing mechanism. It appeared. Choose a brood. There are 10 choices: created, demon, fairy, ghost, gilman, mortal, revenant, vampire, warlock, and werewolf. So those look to be the classes. Your brood determines how much damage you do, your hit dice, and your unique abilities and drawbacks. All broods, besides mortals, are immune to mundane diseases, poisons, and you don't physically age, and are effectively immortal. However, that doesn't mean that you cannot be killed. It's just difficult. So you've got hit points, and you've got your background, a brief glimpse into what you do, what you are, and you can roll the test with advantage at the CP's discretion. For example, a musician might gain advantage performing music live, writing songs, while a computer program might gain an advantage on hacking a computer or interacting with other computer programmers. So you've got level 1 contacts, level 2 contacts, level 3 contacts, and then you want to create your goals and finishing touches. Every new character starts with 1d6 times BLO, which I'm not too sure what BLO stands for. I'm sure we'll come across it again. But there's a BLO roll. So here are the different classes. We've got created. So you look to be like the Frankenstein's monster, the demon, the fairy, the ghost. And I guess I'm kind of noting as far as the font selection. It's not always, but sometimes, you know, you've got your standard headings, and then all of a sudden with the characters, you've got a little bit more of a specialized font for each one. Not saying good or bad. Sometimes that actually works. It does in this case for me, at least. Ghost, Gillman. So you've got your fish people, essentially. Your mortal, revenant. So these are intelligent animated corpses, and they look pretty fucked up. Most just wander out of their graves one day, but they are determined to make the most out of their second chance at living. We've got vampires, warlock, werewolf. And, you know, just as I go through it, and I've been doing, you know, all the different zines and stuff like that, I do appreciate the fact that each background character is on its own separate page and not kind of flowing between them. And then once again, the different font selections actually does help kind of spot them a little bit quicker. And so then we go back to our normal heading here. Equipment, you got encumbrance, armor proficiency, damaging armor that I assume like over time, vehicles, and magical items. Here's a list of the weapons available to you. And I actually, the layout of them, the font selection here, which it looks it almost has that kind of old school typewriter feel to it. So I kind of like that. I honestly, this is among all the games I've been reviewing, this kind of feels the oldest style to me, which brings back a lot of memories from me playing in the 80s with games and layout like this, but a little bit more sophisticated. I don't want to downplay the art and the layout, but it just kind of has that nice feel to it. You've got the core mechanic. Everything the character might possibly attempt that could result in failure is resolved by testing stats. In order to successfully test a stat, a player must roll below it on a d20. So enemies don't make tests. The character must avoid their attacks by making a test. The only time an enemy would roll is for damage. So a lot of player-facing rolls, and like the black hack, you got advantage and disadvantage. A CP may decide a particular course of action or take a task has a higher or lower chance of success. They will ask a player to roll an additional d20 and make a test with advantage. The lower result is used with the disadvantage. So you roll the 2d20s, advantage, disadvantage, much like the 5e mechanism has made more popular. You've got your saving throw and all the different stats that you can save against. Usage die. Any ability, item, or resource that has a usage die has a limited number of uses before it runs out. When that resource is used, roll its usage die the next minute or turn. If the die is 1 to 2, then the usage die is downgraded to the next lower die in the following chain. So then you go down from d20 to d4. And when you roll 1 to 2 on your d4, it's no more left. Humanity. Nightcrawlers don't slip into being monsters like some other games. They are already monsters. But still, that bit of remaining humanity can save them. So if a player can trade a humanity point at any time to do one of the following: re-roll the die, act first in combat, avoid or cheat death, temporarily overcome a brood's drawback, change one fact of a story or fiction. So you allow the players to be part of the storytelling process, which a lot of the newer games obviously like. And you've got your times, turns, movement, distance, experience, gaining levels. And here's a distance chart. In combat, fairly comprehensive. You got an initiative, player turn, attacking, defending, cover. You've got heavy weapons, dual wielding, finesse, full auto, critical damage, death and dying. Here's a D8 table. Like if you lose all your hit points, let's just see what would happen if I'll get a D8 out. 4, we are rattled. And -2 for the next day. Healing, resting. And there's, like I said, this is a very comprehensive little game compared to some of the zines. It's very densely, tightly packed with text, but at the same time, it doesn't really feel that way. It flows pretty nicely. Drugs and addiction, poison and disease, reputation, fear and freaking out, and chases. And then every kindred has a power die that they can use to fuel their unnatural powers. It decreases with use, like a usage die, but doesn't naturally degrade. If the power die is reduced to 0, a character cannot use powers until it's restored. And then there's also edges. They give them edge up against humanity. And to use an edge, first test the stat that corresponds with what you're attempting to do, then roll the character's power die to see if it decreases. Reactive edges can be triggered even if it isn't the player's turn or count as a reaction. Players are encouraged to be creative with how they use their edges by making them stronger, altering their effects. Depending on the effect's power, tests can be at a disadvantage. And, if you roll a 20, which is bad, in this case, you always want to roll under, it temporarily stops working. And then you've got magic, casting spells, ritual magic. And here's some of the different actions, realms, and modifiers. So if it's on yourself, willing, inanimate, it changes. So it makes it more difficult. Here's a edge list. So it's a D100. Let's just see. I'm gonna dig out my roll here. Edge list. 48, which is Invisibility. Become invisible until you attack or take damage. Let's roll again because they're always fun to roll on random tables. 52 is Levitate up to nearby distance. Here, one more, and then we'll move on. 67, which is Olympiad. Gain advantage on rolls to break, bend, lift, move, or throw up to large objects. And then now we get into the enemy section. And you've got everything from their HD, reactions, morale, random encounters, mooks. And here are some types of enemies and actions and specials that they might have, and their rating on a HD from 1 to 5+. Here are some of the images. Once again, good art, evocative. Here's some advice for the NCP. I probably missed it earlier on. It probably stands for whatever the GM is, but missed it. So I've kind of figured that out as I've gone on. So here's the underground, the factions, the world, the splatterpunk themes, interesting NPCs, managing your players' goals. Here's a note on campaigns, rewards, and random tables. And then here we've got some D66 tables to come up with a band name, because hell yeah, let's make a band. So let's go on the name. 62, which is Twilight. What's going to be our second name? 61, Twilight Space. Cool. What kind of genre do we play in? 51, which is Post. Post what? 65, which is Postronica. I do not know what that is, but cool. Character ideas. Here's some names, background, and style. So let's do some character ideas. So let's get our name. 54, Ruby Red. And our background, 41, IT consultant. And what's our style? 15, cottage core. That's a good one. Okay. So we've got some city encounters, another D66 table, 65. A dying city elemental begs the crew to cleanse their domain. City locations, 31. Government building, eerily drab and boring to look at. Here's some factions. 13. Apocalypse. 52. Apocalypse Order. Okay, that's our faction. What kind of type are they? 34. Government agency. And what's their agenda? 36. Have sadistic fun. Well, they're in the government, so why not? Here's some gang names. Let's see what the name is. 63. Toxic. What's the second part of their name? 25. Toxic Fists. And what's their shtick? 15. War vets bonded together by trauma. Cool gang. And here's some items. We won't maybe keep going on this, but a lot of fun. I like these random tables. They're good. So you've got some items, the target, interesting people, some nightlife, what's on the body when you loot the body. Here's some good stuff for clues. And here is your character sheet. So I guess fairly unique attributes. You got your muscle, nerve, flesh, brains, guts, blood. You've got your hit points, hit die, level, attack, armed, unarmed, armor type, abilities and drawbacks and goals, humanity, reputation. Here is some of your inventory, your power die, edges, and magic, contacts. And here's some music to inspire you. So if you are playing the game, if I bet you somebody's made a Spotify playlist, better playlist. We need a QR code for that, and that's by Sally, the artist, and by Tanner. So Nightcrawlers, by Tanner Ye and illustrated by Sally Cantorino. Cool game. Actually, it's perfect for Halloween. I think people should check it out. I know that you can get it off of Tanner's Itch, and you can also buy it from Exalted Funeral. So check it out. And if you have not entered into the draw for $200 store credit from Exalted Funeral, as well as some other games that we've added for giveaways, is Long Winter and Rune Cairn, and as well as there is Forbidden Psalm pack for the Workborg miniatures. So check it out, and we will be doing our live stream draw at 1 p.m. Eastern time on Halloween Day. So join us then, and until then, enjoy the rest of your lead up to Halloween.
Happy Halloween, ladies.